Hey, what's going on YouTube? Storm here with another video today. Also, I'd like to say, apologize for not uploading as frequently over the past week or so. It's been so busy with the tournament management. I've been so distracted trying to make sure the Team APS community tournament, help managing it and making sure I actually get to my matches. Plus, I was out of town most of this weekend, so I haven't really had a chance to get around to uploading. But now I'm back. Also, first bit of news. Thank you for the recent subs who have helped me reach 100 subscribers. It is a pretty dang big milestone, so I would first like to thank you. Also, a bit of more channel update news. I'm going to be, over the next week or probably two, I'm going to be posting videos from the Team APS tournament, the ones I have. So far, I have about 3 matches from the Friday of the tournament. And I'm planning on taking some of the footage over the next few days. And also the final match, as well as some of the closing ceremonies, will be either today or tomorrow. Probably tomorrow. The date has not been finalized, but stay tuned for that. And lastly, this is something I really just don't feel comfortable talking about all the time, but it needs to be said. So now, as I get more subs, I understand that my comment sections will have more trolls. The more subs you have, the more trolls. It's just the more people who are watching your videos, the trolls come out to play. So I'm briefly talking about this one commenter who insulted me and said I was boring and I need to go get confidence. So my answer to you is that if you think I am that boring, don't watch my videos and don't sub. I don't ever get why people personally just seem to dislike people in comment sections, but yet they're sub to the person. It doesn't make sense. If you dislike someone, don't sub to them, don't watch their videos, because the more you commenting on them, you're helping them get more views because people see the comments, they read what's saying. So my answer to you is, please, I'm not going to sit around and beg for subs. If you like my content, subscribe and watch my videos. If you don't, you can go to sub to someone else you might find more. Also, I have a pretty strict policy about trolling comments in my comment section. I know most YouTubers don't have this kind of policy, but I'm going to say, please, I have a disclaimer and a thing in my description for a reason. My disclaimer basically says, my views are mine alone. So if you disagree with me, I don't have a problem with that. Just don't be a lack of a better word, don't be a douche about it. And I use common sense. I try to keep it pretty classy. I try not to swear or rant because that is not my thing. So all I ask is please keep the criticism constructive and helpful. Saying I'm boring does not help me, and it's going to get and in the future it will get your comment deleted, because in the short amount of time it takes for you to post that trolling comment, it takes less time for me. It takes less time for me to hop on and delete your comment. So with that out of the way, and all those stuff out of the way, let's get to the top today. So top today is kind of something that I remember RJB briefly going over this in one of his videos, and this is a kind of a topic that a lot of players are in this mindset that they don't want any meta at all. This video is going to briefly explain why that can never happen. Now, we're going to take a bit of a trip down memory lane to in my opinion, one of the most balanced formats we've ever had, which was the format from January of last year, where the Dragon Rulers were hit onto the limited list, to pretty much until Duelist Alliance release. This is what I call the April 2015 through Primal Origin format. Basically, what I loved so much about this format was this was the first regional I ever actually attended. I played. Now, if you've been to regionals, if you're watching this, if you've been to a Yu-Gi-Oh event, tell me if this has ever happened. Have you ever played 7 game matches against 7 different decks? Probably not. And that kind of shows, now regionals in general are typically more diverse than, say, a big YCS. Typically at the big YCS is that most players will be playing whatever the best deck that the players seem to think is the best deck is. That's typical. So, but in a regional, this was, more diverse than any Yu-Gi-Oh event I've ever attended. So it kind of gives you, now, the thing about the Primal Origin format is there was one, unlike now where we have about 3 to 4 to 5 top tier decks, Hat was by and away the best deck. Yes, that you could still beat Hat with Sylvans, with Yugioh, with Infernities, or Firefist or Mermails, but Hat was by and large the top tier deck. So what we can make the case of is we can make the case now, even with Necros, Shaddolls, Burning Abyss, etc. We have a more diverse meta now than one of the most balanced formats in Yu-Gi-Oh history. So the basic premise of this is that we will always have a meta. Because even if you don't, a good example is, you look at the format that Simo used for the Yu-Gi Super Grand Championship, he did not allow any of the top tier decks. Now, what the only issue with this, he didn't want people he wanted more diversity than just Necros and top tier decks, which is fine. I think it was a good idea. But the problem this created is many people just picked the decks that were good, that were right below that, which there were several Yosenju and Ritual Beast players, because those were legal, but Necros weren't. So you kind of get an idea. Basically, if you prevent people from playing a certain deck, they're just going to play whatever was meta right below that, and you don't allow those decks, it creates an endless loop where you can't play anything. So the basic point is, it's just the way it is. There will always be a meta in Yu-Gi-Oh, but there are always cards that could counter it. A good example is, I knew someone at my college who went to Nats with Mermails, and he pretty much had everything out of, his deck was well out of my price. I mean, he had this was when Exaton was $90, he had one. This was when 101 was $50, he had one. You kind of get the idea. He had everything, and beating him was incredibly difficult on my budget. But I found cards that I knew were good against that particular matchup that were budgetary friendly, and that card happened to be Thunder King Raiho, which is to this day still one of my favorite anti-meta cards. Please, Konami, bring it up to 3. But I also knew that Mermails, there are other obscure cards that are really good against Mermails, such as Soul Drain, such as even cheap option like the End of Anubis, which is basically a walking Soul Drain that's a Monarch card. There are always budgetary friendly options to beat certain decks. You just have to look for them. So, in my opinion, the best way to combat the meta is to build an absolutely good side deck. Side deck is as someone who's taken a Battle Boxer deck to events, I can tell you that the games I would play against Shaddolls, provided I can keep Winda off the field, most of the time it would come down to, do I see my Shadow Imprisoning Mirrors game 2 or 3, or I would usually lose. And that's basically how you have to think about it. If you know what your format is going to be and you prepare a good side deck, there's no reason you can't take a rogue deck and beat meta decks. Because every deck has a weakness. So, in summary, I think that meta decks are a necessary evil in Yu-Gi-Oh! And they will always be there. So think about that when you just say, I don't want people playing this deck because I don't like it. Because people will just, if you don't allow that deck, people are just going to play the next tier decks and etc. It creates a loop. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video today. I really appreciate it when people watch my videos. I also ask, please tune in. If you haven't already, follow Team APS, the Team APS Twitch page when we do stream the final of the tournament. I won't spoil who's playing because obviously, I'm going to be doing all the videos. I don't want to spoil anything. So also stay tuned the rest of the week. I think I have the first 3 duels ready to go. So those duels will start posting on Thursday of this week. I'll have the first few duels that I've recorded so far. And I plan probably to post a duel a day depending on how quickly I can get all the matches recorded, uploaded and everything. So stay tuned for that. Also, if you haven't already, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Aurastorm43. I usually stream on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. sharp, depending on scheduling. And usually that's all that really matters. It's scheduling. So, and if you like what you saw from this video, please subscribe.